Hey everybody, it's your girl Bunny. To all of my returning subscribers, hey, how you doing? And for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Kick your feet up, subscribe to this family-friendly channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss any posts. Also follow me on Instagram at the same profile name so you don't miss the sneak peeks of what's coming up next. In this video, it's Atlanta Season 3, Episode 6, entitled White Fashion. I give a full episode recap with photos offset to the side, and then I give my review at the end. No need to dig around. I keep all of the minute marks in the comments. It's all coming up next. A fashion designer explains his inspiration and insight on clothing design. The idea should be expensive and a character image will be incorporated throughout the collection. The chairman won't waste any more of his time. He's had enough. Before he leaves, he requests samples for his grandson. They sell out faster than even he can get it. Later, the grandson gets a package with a hip-hop gear-inspired clothing jersey and a shout-out to Central Park indicated on the back. Advertisements show Black people as an accessory to the so-called white fashion, a thumbs up to street cred. Paperboy and Ernest meet with the designer as a potential spokesperson. Before they begin, Paperboy wants food, ribs and mac and cheese, and Darius wants jollof rice. One woman says that she's never heard of this jollof rice, but assures that their order will be placed. The designer Marcello says to Paperboy he's sure they've heard of their little mix-up with their clothing line. Paperboy will allow the line to settle the views of the Black community. It's like their apology. Later, there will be a press conference meeting along with their diversity advisor board. In the meantime, Eliona will be their liaison. There's a few more details though. They won't be able to pay Paperboy in cash. It would look too disingenuous. Instead, they can make a donation to Paperboy's charity of choice. Paperboy says yes to the deal, but wants custom suits and free clothes. Lots of free clothes. 3 years for 3 years. It's all a deal, and the designer says that he will get right on it. They can even have whatever is on the showroom floor, except for the Central Park jersey that Darius is requesting. Ernest isn't too happy with the deal. It seems like an Uncle Tom move. What about what the streets want? He could have asked to be in the creative board for 5 years. That way he can learn the system, develop his own line, then share that information with the community. Al isn't worried about it. It's free gifts and tailoring. It's clothes. When is the next time that he'll get a large amount of designer gear? Be honest, Ern. The way things go, when people help, those people often get killed. A rep wants to know from Darius, where can they find this jollof rice? They can't seem to find it anywhere. The press conference begins, and a gentleman by the name of Khalil greets others as he enters the venue, and it seems that others are familiar with who he is. He introduces himself to Al as an activist, writer, and foodie, but Al knows exactly who he is. He wants to know from Al, is this your first time apologizing for white people? He hasn't paid for food in 73 police shootings, giving the nudge that he's not a rookie to these social injustice events. When he walks into the room, he says to Marcello, the designer, I forgive you. Al is a bit confused. He whispers to Khalil, what am I supposed to do up here? Perform a few songs? What? But Khalil tells him that, look, after the chairman apologizes, all you have to do is smile and take pictures. Don't worry, you got this. The questions begin from the media, and someone asks, is racism over? Al says, F no. And Khalil interrupts Al by saying racism will be over in 2024. Everyone stands to applaud the statement. Darius and the assistant watch an African movie before placing their order. When the waitress arrives, she says that she'll take a moment to explain the menu, but Darius doesn't need the menu explained. He's ready to order. When she learns he's Nigerian, she's excited. When was the last time he visited home? There's a mood change of familiarity and family. She even calls him Nija. The rep explains that she wants the business card of the woman they just talked to. It will be good PR to have a variety of food trucks. When Darius tries to explain more about the culture, she tunes out the conversation while trying to Shazam the song playing. Paperboy meets with the diversity advisor board. Al is honest and saying, hey, the goal is to help Black people, right? We should have a capsule collection. These profits could be recycled as an investment back into the Black communities. When others chime in, the feedback is egotistical. They just want signed Nikes, business class trips, books for signing to charities, and Broadway tickets. Al is even more confused and stops their excited conversation. How is that helping the community? Also, that guy at the table, is he even Black? When he asks him directly, the guy laughs nervously and doesn't even answer the question. They try to tell Paperboy, hey, this social injustice has been going on for a while. We know what we're doing. Ernest needs the directions to the nearest Apple store. He's scratched his Apple Watch screen. Ernest then sees Van come out of nowhere. He walks over and says, hello, and Van casually says hello back, as if there isn't an issue. Ern wants to know, what's wrong with you? I mean, where you been? It's been weeks. Van explains that she's just been doing her own thing, plus they're on tour and busy anyway. Ern says that he's worried and her actions are dangerous. They're parents and he didn't even know where she was. Her mom didn't even know where she was. In the midst of their conversation, a white woman barges in yelling at Van, saying that she's stolen a wig from the shop. She saw her. She's calling the police and grabs her arm, saying that she's holding her there until the police arrive. Ern gets the woman off of Van, saying his fiance did no such thing. A hotel employer tells the white woman to leave or they will be forced to call the police. Ern tells the hotel employee, first, you can't find our bags. Our names aren't in the system. We've been waiting in the lobby for hours, and now this racist stuff happens? The concierge apologizes, and their first night's stay charges will be on the hotel. After he walks away, Van whispers to Ern, are we staying here? And he responds, we are now. Al continues to pitch ideas, and they start to agree until the attentions get even more greedy. They want the money to go to their own charities. One of them points out that, hey, Khalil got the money last time, so it should go to someone else. Eliona suggests that Al should make the choice, since it was his idea. Al says that he picks Khalil since the guy that isn't really Black keeps saying the N-word. Khalil suggests that Paperboy should speak to Marcello, and he should be the face of the next campaign. The meeting is now adjourned. Al makes a video excited about the idea of reinvesting in your hood. The next day, Darius goes to the same Nigerian restaurant, but it's out of business. Instead, there's a Niger Bowl food truck in front of it. Sharon is now happy to report that she's purchased the restaurant, the property in front of her food truck. As Darius tries to speak with her, she's placing an order over the phone for a particular Nigerian cuisine added with carrots and raisins. She tells him that the landlord wanted to sell it for a while. She doesn't know if the original owners of the restaurant relocated. She didn't ask. She then tells Darius to enjoy a serving of their peach barbecue reduction chunks. She calls it the Darius since he's from Georgia. Darius is so floored that he walks away in complete shock. The campaign commercial plays as a voiceover from Paperboy says, reinvest in your hood. Then actors and models in the commercial say, we're all from some hood. Reinvest in your hood. Over and over again. Paperboy barges into a meeting with several members of the company, and he says that he's pissed. They took his words and flipped it. They even made the commercial without his approval. They took his statement and all lives mattered it. How is this helping Atlanta? The designers assure that some profits will go to the Red Cross. Now Paperboy is really pissed. He screams, now Black people really won't see that money if it's going to the Red Cross. Khalil urges him to calm down and speak with him in private in the hallway and to relax. Khalil wants him to know, Paperboy, why? Why do you think this company is going to take money to reinvest in Black people, which would stop making them buy their products and reinvest into their own? Why would they fund their own demise? That's not business. That's charity. That's why you need your own nonprofit, so you can control the money. I squeezed $100K out of them to fund our own. I told you, I've been doing this social justice thing for a long time. Hey, forget about it. The Black Panther premiere is starting soon, and I got another ticket. You should go. Whoopi and Lorenz Tate are in this one. Al says, no, man, I'm good. And as Khalil walks away, he tells Al to think about what he said. Ern and Van take a moment to talk. Ern says, hey, do you remember how Nickelodeon used to have during Halloween Nick or Treat? which sounded so much like something else. They vibe off music, and Earn apologizes for her experience earlier. Not the lady situation, but that maybe he came off abrasive. He didn't want to act that way. He was just worried about her. Van begins to get very cuddly and hugs Earn, which is awkward. Earn allows the hug, but it almost leads into a kiss. But Earn has to know, did you steal that wig? She ignores the question by kissing him. The next morning, Earn is awakened by the hotel phone. Then he realizes that Van isn't in bed. She's gone. And Earn ends the constant phone ringing by slamming down the receiver. And that is the end of the episode. And now it is time for your favorite part of the video. That's right, my review. So as I've said in all Atlanta reviews, that the fluidity of the writing, set design, clothing design, casting, all of that together, and the fluidity of these episodes is absolutely amazing. To be able to communicate several ideas in a short time span. We're talking about excluding commercials, which can range from 26 to 28 minutes, depending on the allotted signed agreement for what is going to air, excluding commercials, right? So they're executing all these ideas and concepts in a very short period of time. I don't think people understand how difficult that is. Series that have about an hour, you have so much room. You have a lot of room to say more and what you want to say and communicating. We have visual depictions. We have the cinematography of the lighting and angles. Everything melts together and gels together in this series, whether you think certain episodes are weird or not. Once you dissect them and look at them through a different lens and understanding, then you get it. You understand this is what they were trying to say. Whether I agreed with the topics or not, it gives you and helps you formulate different ideas and ways to look at certain topics through different eyes. Okay, let's start with Van. As I've said with this season 3 over and over again, she's absolutely on the road of depression, of this spinning cycle of not caring about anyone. We've seen in previous seasons, she was a single Black mom, working so hard, taking care of Earn, making sure that bills were paid, all while he's following his dream. But at the same time, she's a mom. She didn't have time to just kind of think about and wail away about what she wanted to do. She had to get straight to business. So with this season 3, we see a lot of that frustration bleeding out of her. We see a lot of that I don't care essence pouring out of her. And if you're a fan of the show, with episode 1 of season 3, you thought, man, what's going on with Van? But I peeped it. I peeped that she's starting it. It begins to where she's starting this journey of not caring about others. She's out of that mode. She's in the mode of just not caring about how other people feel about her either, that concern. She could care less. When she saw Earn, she was like, oh, hey. If you think about, even if you don't have the best relationship with someone, but you have to have communication with someone, you just disappear and take off. It's evident that they are clearly on this road to a destruction within depression. So with this episode, I absolutely think she stole that wig. She stole that wig. But that karma clearly in this season is gonna come back at the worst time for her, unfortunately. All they need in the future is source surveillance of what really happened. And the woman had no right. Let's understand this. That white woman had no right to grab her and attack her. Listen, white people, it is not your authority or your right to touch and grab people, okay? Van's destructive behavior, as I predicted, is getting worse with each episode. This hug and romance with Earn in the last few scenes was awkward for Earn, especially comparing it to the last season when she told him, hey, they're over. I don't want to be with you. We tried at a relationship, but what is it really? She was so frustrated with things that he was, doing in the previous seasons. And there's a disregard of the level of love and the level of respect for Earn and the fact that she slept with him him and then left is really a punch in the face. Like, I really don't care about you. I gave you a little kiss, a little hug. Don't worry about if I stole a wig. I'm just here to get the D. And she just leaves in the morning without saying where she's going. If that ain't the middle finger, I don't know what is. So it's going to get worse. And I think for the rest of the season, we're going to see the downfall of Earn and something that she's doing. I even mentioned in the previous review, she is seeing signs of maybe using drugs. You can see it in her body language a lot as compared to the other seasons. And it might come up, and it probably will really push Earn to say, you know what, I'm done, I'm out. What's going on with her? I really need to get her some help. So let's talk about the main crust of this episode, the title, White Fashion. Then you start to think to yourself, what is white fashion? How's it even formulated? That is the real question, right? And so with this episode, there's so much to dissect. Let's just start with Paperboy. Now, as Paperboy and Earn were waiting on Marcello and other designers from the line to come into the room, there was this brief conversation about, hey, you remember what happened with Tommy Hilfiger? You remember that? Who's even, in control of Tommy Hilfiger anymore? So just to jog your memory, Tommy Hilfiger years ago was this preppy, kind of feel, white America vibes. These are awesome clothes. And it was alleged, right, that there was this rumor that Tommy Hilfiger made a statement about black people and saying that, the design isn't for black people, that he doesn't want black people wearing his clothes. It even led to the fact to where he was on Oprah, and Oprah wanted to know, Oprah, we're going to have Tommy Hilfiger. Oh my God. But he was on there, and Oprah wanted to know, hey, did you really say that? And he's like, no, I wouldn't say that. And my clothes are meant for all people. And then all of a sudden there's this big bang of Tommy Hilfiger doing this twist and rebrand, and Tommy Hilfiger has street clothes, and even Aaliyah was signed, and a lot of different black hip-hop artists and singers were signed, and even reps that were also designers got signed to Tommy Hilfiger. And then all of a sudden, over time, it seemed to calm, right, black people and being so pissed off about the situation, right? So this is a correlation not just with Tommy Hilfiger, but a lot of other brands, right? We're talking about old money brands that had depictions of blackface. And they knew it was wrong because there's been several times where they've done this over and over again. But this correct, control, alt, delete, apology pattern seems to come and go with the black community. And not only that, black people reinvesting their money to contribute to their old money, their old white money. And this is the idea that this episode is trying to communicate. It's just one of the things that it's trying to communicate. Let's talk about the underlining black people and representation and reps of so-called these big companies, right? Hip hop more than anything, right? If they were to say, hey, stop wearing Gucci, stop wearing this, start wearing Louis Vuitton, stop doing all this other stuff, that cuts out a big chunk of the funding that comes to these labels. Now you see this uprising of support black business, support black designers, support this, reinvest into your own. And even with the black face clothing, even with all of these things that are happening, you still have a big percentage of people, black people, that when they reach a level of success, the goal is to get the Prada bag. The goal is to get the Louis Vuitton. The goal is to get this. The goal is to get white design, white influence, white this, white that, because it's a sign of success, because now you can afford it. Earlier in the episode, the designer Marcello says, oh, we're going to come out with this design. It's going to be a face, and there's a cat face. But if you realize the cat face is black, okay? I think they're trying to reference this blackface idea, that it's this caricature, that it's this thing that's going to be familiar, that's going to be a label that people are going to automatically go to and flock to. The idea that this black fashion and this black influence which this Central Park idea, this Central Park representation of clearly Central Park being, this is an area where you don't stay. This is an area where you can go, but not really. When Darius asked, hey, can I have this jersey? And he was like, oh, you can have everything on the floor except that one. That statement alone was saying, hey, you're here to represent us, dig us out of this hole, and attach to our apology, but don't wear that Central Park jersey. It was that underlying statement of, you could do everything else, you can wear all this other stuff, but it was something about that one. It was something about that representation that says that you're fitting in, you're here, but not really. Okay. Now, this character of Khalil, let's talk about that. So I did a video a while ago, and I'll make sure to put the link in the comment, about Jay-Z and his deal with the NFL. And I went off on it. I was new to YouTube. I don't even think that many people watched it. But Khalil has a lot. If you notice, his character had the BLM, design on his clothing. That was not on accident. That was on purpose. We're going to talk about the BLM situation in a minute. Okay, we're going to talk about that. But let's talk about this character of Khalil. Okay, with Khalil, he is an underlying kind of secret sweep under the rug character of a lot of real Black people who are high end, okay, who seem to, we need to be sitting at the table and our voices to be heard about the whole situation. Now let's talk about Jay-Z. So let's talk about why a lot of people were not on Jay-Z's side when he, sat down with the NFL after they condemned Colin Kaepernick for taking a knee, right? A silent protest, bringing awareness to police brutality. What's interesting for those of you that don't know, Jermaine Dupri did several interviews expressing how pissed he was when Jay-Z did what he did. For those of you that don't know, Jermaine Dupri said, hey, him and I and several other people, I set a lot of, Black people down who I thought could make some moves with an idea that I had. Jermaine Dupri had the idea of, hey, you know what? Why are we dealing with this NFL stuff? We all need to come together as heavy hitters, me, you, Didi, all this other stuff. And we should start our own football league. And Jermaine Dupri said, hey, Jay-Z said that's a dumb idea. I wouldn't do that. It doesn't make any sense, So Jermaine was like, okay, maybe we should just start, reinvesting and change some things. And he was completely shocked and floored when Jay-Z made the deal with NFL as the representative when it came to halftime show entertainment. And Jermaine Dupri was like, what the hell? Right? He had his paperboy moment, like, you all lives matter, my stuff. You know what I mean? And a lot of people will see, what Jay-Z did, it's sitting at the table and it's getting more, it's getting more exposure to this, to that. I went into that video. Y'all make sure that y'all watch that, okay? But this Khalil guy was a representation of a lot of things that happen what happens when it comes to being the wool over the eyes of the true intent of helping. Now let's get into this Black Lives Matter situation. So BLM, along with key founder, the organization and the members of its leadership team, is facing all this backlash about the potential misappropriation of funds that poured in after the murder of George Floyd by police in 2020, right? So it's reported that this group's umbrella foundation bought a luxury $6 million home, right? It's the Studio City in its attempt to hide the purchase from the public. So it's this $66.5 million from its fiscal sponsor, who they distributed the donations made by thousands, if not millions of people. Now, the question about is how the foundation has been using its vast wealth from donations and who has been benefiting from the influx of the funds that has been received. So it was a movement. It was something that helped, but then a lot of people are like, okay, what was the underlying meaning of it? Now that doesn't mean all of the members. A lot of the members are like, hey, I was on this team of people who had a goal to have this movement. I don't know about that $6 million house. I don't know about that, but it's a way to dissect every situation. It's a way to dissect money, donations, where it's going. What is your goal? What is your idea? What are you trying to communicate? After more investigation, she shows the receipts of, hey, certain funding that's allocated for all of the founders and for me and for this and that, we needed somewhere to live. But come to find out with the receipts that she's going on a real estate binge. She's buying up a lot of property in areas that have been ignored and reversing gentrification. So it's like they try to really just make her out to be like, oh, the whole organization is this and you're that. Come to find out, she talked to News Post like, hey, I'm buying up real estate that was taken. The price is hacked up. I bought them and I'm helping my people. So, there's so much we can go into about this. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Do your research when it comes to a lot of people that have these non-for-profits. All of these celebrities that we think are just doing amazing things. Where is their money going and how are you getting it? It seems like, oh, I'm pairing up with such and such, this company. I'm pairing up with Prada. And like the Khalil said, how long have you been apologizing for white people? Because why do they need us to fix their mess? That is what the communication is. And Paperboy going in thinking that it's going to be okay and they're going to make this statement. But as Khalil said, think about it, man. Why would they reinvest in us? Why would they do that? Why would, we come here, we're apologizing to make them feel better, and they're going to go to sleep like a baby and keep making their old money. Let's move on to Darius. My goodness, there's so much more that I could say about this, but this video would be an hour long. Let's go into Darius. So we learned that Darius in this season is Nigerian. We learned that he's Nigerian. He had a traumatic experience in Nigeria. We still don't know the backstory of this character. He's like this mystery guy that became a friend of Paperboy. Hopefully they'll go backtrack and give us the full episode to see how they met. But with Darius, he's Nigerian. There's this sense of comfort and home. When he goes to the Nigerian website, he's calling her auntie. That sense of home and connection over cuisine was absolutely beautiful. The African movie, the energy of the restaurant and feeling like home, only to have Sharon come in and see it as a business opportunity. Only to have Sharon come in to get the cliff notes of the idea of what's going on, to take it, to snatch it, the gentrification, and to remix it terribly into a food truck. The culture, the invite, the feeling of home, the love, all of that absolutely stripped and redone in the name of profit. Now, their conversation as they sat down, Darius is wondering, okay, what happened to Mimi? Were they looking to sell? Did she relocate? And Sharon was just like, I don't know. But the landlord was ready. He was wanting to get rid of it. He was wanting to hurry up and just, making a deal like, oh yeah. And her saying that they gave him a very good offer lets me know that she could care less. She could care less about what happened to how that family was providing for their own and their community. It happens all the time. This again, people, is something that you can research. This vamping, this gentrification, stripping culture, stripping this sense of home. When you think of a neighborhood, you think about that melting pot that America that's so happy to say, oh, we're a melting pot, and everybody has and the lies behind that. And making sure that you, quote unquote, don't get too big for your britches. Don't make too much money, because then you're looked at as a threat. Then you're looked at. We have so many examples of that, as I explained earlier in the reviews of Black Wall Street, Tulsa massacres, all the massacres across America when Black business really started to boom and help ourselves and funds ourselves, the Black Panther movements. I go on and on and on. Whenever you get too big, it's this, as Al says, when you try to help people, then you're, discarded, you're murdered. It's just, oh my gosh. But Darius having this epiphany, like, I can't believe that I invited this person into a sense of just trying to get some jollof rice. And now several people's worlds are upside down. Now he feels this guilt of I shouldn't even have mentioned it. I shouldn't have even have went there. Like maybe this never would have happened, but she went in. She came in like a snake, right? Because she was like, I don't know where I'd find this joke. Can you take me? So it's this sense of pulling him in. I'm going to use him as a source to take, because she could have easily Googled that. So I think that she was really trying to deceive him and thinking, oh, I don't know where to find it. I don't know where, and her using him to get details about, oh, what's this called? What's this called? Oh, what's that? Oh, what's that mean? What does this mean? And she took that name and put it on the food truck. Everybody, it happens all the time. Gentrification happens all the time, every day in America. Gentrification is the process where the character of a poor urban idea is changed by wealthier people moving in, right? Housing, all of that, businesses attracting new business to their remix, typically displacing the current inhabitants in the process. Right? An area undergoing rapid gentrification. We see that in the housing market. We see a lot of big name real estate companies, apps, housing apps that buy up tons of homes, right? Flip it, vamp up the prices, knowing that the black people that lived there before now can't afford it. Now they're being forced to relocate. Excellent episode, you guys. Excellent job done by the writing team, because I'm not even finished even talking about everything that was placed into this episode. And it was 26 minutes. Imagine had it been an hour. We would have had to have 3 or 4 different reviews. Let me know what you think. I'm just so amazed by the writing. It's just so beautiful. Let me know what you think. Put your comments down below. Subscribe and like this video. And you can even DM your girl on Instagram and let me know your thoughts as well if you're too shy. But make sure that you check me out. Inventing Anna is coming soon. Also check out all of the plethora of other shows that are on the playlist and binge watch if you got nothing else to do. In the meantime, in between time, remember to take care of yourself and each other. Bye.